Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for coming to IS Symposium for the graduating class of 2021. My name is Miyauna Incarnarto, and I will be telling you more about my IS, which has to do with native bees, plants, and how conservation matters for both of them. Alrighty. So the title of my IS, is going to be How Floral Resource Composition and Sampling Method Help Us to Assess Bee Community Diversity in a Peri-Urban Landscape. So just a little bit about me. Again, my name is Miyauna Incarnarto. I'm from Akron, Ohio, and I have loved nature, conservation, and of course being out with our wildlife from a very early age, which is why I'm an environmental studies, conservation track major, and a Chinese minor. And I will be heading to graduate school in the fall. So just a little background on my IS. Peri-urban landscapes and fragmentation are not a problem that is going away. Out of urban and cropland expansion, as you can see over here on the right of this graph, in the dark blue, urban and crop pasture mixture is actually expanding the most quickly out of both urban and cropland, which is very interesting and something that has happened in the last 20 years. So of course, because of this fragmentation, we're seeing a loss of resources and a loss of biodiversity. And of course, as we lose this biodiversity and become concerned with management and conservation of this biodiversity, we have to learn how to assess this, which is what I worked on for my IS. So I had 4 sites selected in a peri-urban habitat, and here what I did was I used bowl and net traps to collect bee specimens, which I would ID later. Over here you can see the bowls on the top left and me with a net on the top right. And while I was doing this, I also noted the surrounding floral resources and whether they were native or non-native. I then ID'd these bees as close as I possibly could and then did a statistical analysis on these results. Just to show you my sites, on the top left is the College of Worcester site, 2 different gardens there. The top right is the Seacrest Arboretum in Worcester, Ohio. Bottom left is the Holden Arboretum near Cleveland, Ohio. And the bottom right is Worcester Memorial Park, also in Worcester, Ohio. So, during my IS, I was also able to start the Worcester Pollinator Garden. This was started in June 2020. It was planted with all native plants, and I sampled here too, even though it was fairly new and fairly barren, to establish a sample baseline so that way this could be used for future research and other IS students. And of course, very excitingly, this will be able to be expanded this summer as well. So my results, I did 360 bowl collections and 120 net collection periods. From these bowls and nets, I was able to collect 92 bees. 89 came from the bowls. We see 4 families, 13 genus, and 16 different species. And I was able to identify 78 of those 92 species. Out of all those bees, Halictidae represented 39% of the samples. The College of Worcester site had the most collections, with 40% being collected here, and Worcester Memorial Park had the least, with only 5%. The bowls did both significantly better for diversity, both richness and abundance, bowls collecting over 97% of total specimens. So as we can look at some of my statistics here, richness by site, both the Worcester and Holden Arboretum site did significantly better than the Seacrest and Worcester Memorial Park sites. As for abundance by site, we see Worcester significantly doing better than both Seacrest and Worcester Memorial, with Holden Arboretum falling right in the middle between those 2 sections. And of course, floral composition actually did not play a significant factor in my study as I had suspected. Both, all the sites had similar percentage composition to both native and non-native plants, and it really did not make a difference in what kind of diversity I was seeing. So what does this mean? For collection type, it means that the bowls are better than the nets, and this could be for several reasons. One being that the bowls are out for a full 24 hours, and when I was doing my net collections, I did this when I was setting and collecting the bowls, and this is for all types of bees. Suggested in other research that bowls actually don't collect larger bees, such as a bumblebee, for example, but I actually did see those in my traps. It also shows us that the bowl colors, having all colors, is very important, because I had both white, blue, and yellow fluorescently painted bowls, and no color did significantly better than any other. For my site, we see that Worcester did the best, which is very exciting, as we just started that this summer, and it shows the significance of studying these quickly changing environments. For floral resources, again, native and non-native floral resources did actually not play a significant factor on whether I saw bee diversity, which is very interesting, as we also often assume that native bees, native flowers go together, and while they most certainly do, especially for our struggling specialist bee species, it did not play a significant factor in my study. For the Worcester Pollinator Garden, we also see that this hopefully has a very promising future. As we continue to develop and study this plot, hopefully it'll only get better as we add more plants and it gets more established. I also hope that this will have a positive impact on both the campus and Worcester community. And for future directions, it would be interesting to try different colors of bowls for my sampling, to try a longer sampling period throughout the entire summer, and also adding other floral resource characteristics, such as when flowering begins and ends, would also be a very important factor as well. In my summary here, these fragmentation events aren't going away, humans aren't going away. So by studying these quickly changing areas where we live, we can hopefully find better management and conservation practices for both our struggling bees and plants. I would like to thank you all again for coming to Symposium today. Hope you got to see many wonderful presentations. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I would love to hear them. And I'd also again like to thank my amazing collaborators at both the College of Worcester, Holden Arboretum, the Ohio State University, and Worcester Memorial Park. Thank you so much.